Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice.
What's going on out there, fellow Tightwads, fellow California Golden Bear athletic fans? Been a hot minute, but we have finally emerged and awakened from our quote-unquote summer hibernation to get things up and going here yet again on this fan-produced podcast that, of course, is brought to you by a 100-year-old pile of dirt overlooking a 100-year-old college football stadium in Strawberry Canyon. Without further ado, and for the first time in a very long while, let's go ahead and get things kicked off here with the 33rd edition of the Bear Raid, presented by Tightwad Hill. Again, hope everybody's doing good out there in Berkeley, the East Bay, and wherever the hell you're tuning in from on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. At least it's beautiful out here in the Diamond District of Oakland, California. It is, of course, the 30th and current sitting governor of Tightwad, Keith Salminen, coming at you from the third version of Dub 6 Studios. If it's been a while since the last time you tuned in, this is the second Bear Raid broadcast we've done here at the Diamond District variant of the studio, as, of course, it's bounced around over the last couple of years. Great to be back with you. Been a hot minute. Had plans to talk about a whole decent amount of stuff, but as many of you, of course, out there that happen to follow our sister podcast, A's Fan Radio, might be aware of, been a little under the weather on and off the last couple of weeks. Wifey and I kicking a damn stomach bug back and forth for a little bit. Personal matters that I had to address to. Now I've had a full-blown allergy flare-up the last several days. So going to be a little quick, shorter edition of the Bear Raid. We're going to primarily just talk about Cal football on this one, and obviously another big piece of news I'm pretty sure all of you out there have been following since we last came at you. And also, for the first time in a while, I am actually not doing this show alone, as joining me here for the first time himself at the third version of Dub 6 Studios is one of the co-hosts. No, it's not Tito Soulchild, and unfortunately it's not good old Taddy, but it is a guy that's normally a regular here on this podcast since we got this bad boy going in November of 2020. That is, of course, none other than our good friend, Donnie Knucklehead Hudson. Donnie, my man, what's going on? Been a minute.
Hey, it's good to see you again, Keith. It's been a while. Like you said, it's nice out here in Oakland. I'm enjoying the afternoon. It's good to be back. We're going to talk about Cal Bears. You know, it's a special season this year, special in a variety of different ways. 100 years we've been playing football. Lost those leather helmets, I want to say. And we're on to big-time football in Berkeley. We're going to be part of the ACC if it works out right. All right, Keith, back to you.
Definitely one of the subject matters we'll be touching basis on here today in this abbreviated edition of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. The plan had been, obviously, like we normally do, to not just talk about Cal football, but the other athletic programs that have also started up already or will be starting up here in between now and the next time we're scheduled to come at you with the next edition of the show. But again, just given how my sinuses are and the fact that this was Donnie's first trip over here and he's just trying to get re-familiar and reacquainted with an area that apparently he hasn't been to since he was a child, from what we were talking about prior to today's show. So expect it to be just a quick little 1 hour broadcast. And anything else you got for everyone out there before we get this madhouse underway for the 33rd time?
You know, you're right. I grew up down the street in the Laurel District, and we're right up the street now in the Diamond. He was talking the Diamond to me, and wow, it feels good to be back in Oakland. We're going to talk about some swimming, some scuba diving. We got it all here on the Bear Raid.
As always, and definitely look forward to that on future shows. But again, as mentioned, short little broadcast today where we're going to primarily just discuss the upcoming Cal football season. Talk about, of course, the centennial celebration of two landmarks on the UC Berkeley campus. And, of course, yes, spoiler alert, one of those landmarks happens to be the very pile of dirt that sponsors this here podcast. But before we get into all of that, and for obvious reasons, this is why the first time in a hot minute, the Cal football talk being bumped into the second segment of the Bear Raid on this edition of the show, obviously, I'm pretty sure everyone out there, to some extent, either fully or partially, has been following what has been going on with this more or less shit show that's been going down the last several weeks. But if for some reason or another you've been under a rock, hanging out somewhere where you have no reception in any means whatsoever to find out things, if you somehow missed out, the Pac-12 has basically imploded. And multiple reasons, of course, why this ended up happening. But pretty much what led to it finally going down is, obviously, as we all know, the current Pac-12 TV agreement is going to be up here soon. I want to believe it's at the end of this year that it's going to be coming down. And Pac-12 was having issues negotiating with other networks, trying to get some sort of deal done, which is not surprising because, let's be real, the competence level from those that run the higher-ups at the Pac-12 has been lackluster, and that's not just been the talk amongst, Cal fans, but that's pretty much the complete vibe felt by fans of all the teams in the Pac-12 Conference over the last couple of years. Got to the point where it looked like they had something worked out with Apple, which, kind of got a split result from folks out there because, obviously a lot of folks out there do have streaming, but you still have some out there that are still trying to, familiarize themselves with it or not ready to get a streaming service of any type whatsoever at this point. And it was also, a low-ballish type deal where I want to say the schools were only going to get something like $20 million each or something like that as far as things with media rights go. And that pretty much caused a whole bunch of schools to say, screw this, we're out. And pretty much the way things are looking at this point right now is after this year, it would be just a Pac-4. You would basically have just Cal, Stanford, Washington State, and Oregon State as everybody else is basically blown out and dipped to the Big Whatever or the Big 12 or other options that they have out there. And just, unfortunately, this is a situation that's kind of been in the making for a long time. Many of us felt that the last time the whole TV network deal for the Pac-12 got negotiated, that things got screwed up and weren't handled properly with that. I've heard multiple complaints from not just Cal fans, but other Pac-12 fans out there about, just the service and some of the way stuff were done with the Pac-12 network. And it's just crazy that, a conference that basically had a 100-plus year history of existence, had the nickname of the Conference of Champions, basically will no longer exist in any of the capacity we've known it. And, there's obviously folks out there that remember when it was the Pac-8. When I started going up to Tightwad Hill in 2002, it was the Pac-10 at that point. And, obviously folks that have lived through both those witnessing what's developed into the Pac-12. But it's just, it's crazy. And it just continues to show how much with, I'm guessing, not just stuff like the INLs, but just, the whole thing with money when it comes to media rights and sports period now. Is this going to be the new norm where you see just conferences completely realigning or gobbling up other conferences? And just your thoughts on it before we move forward to what potential future options are for Cal going forward after this whole implosion of the Pac-12.
Well, we got Joe Starkey's out. Luckily, we got KGO still supporting us. And, I don't know what to say about that, but we gotta bring up we gotta have a meeting amongst the presidents of the Pac-12. We need to all get on the same page. And like he said, it's a Pac-4 now, but we had a few more teams. I think we might make our own conference. I'm not so sure or keen on the idea of joining the ACC. It's been in the newspapers, been on TV. Nobody's biting at that. I think they might change it up and maybe start their own. That's my idea.
I mean, there's a lot of folks out there, and I mean, from what I've seen, it seems like it's, split down the middle. There's folks out there that, even though they really don't like the idea, they are on board with the whole going to the ACC. There's others out there like yourself that hate the whole idea of it for either reasons you brought up or the big concern a lot of folks have is, the travel time.
That's right.
And a lot of, maybe not so much the travel time affecting football and the basketball programs, but the other programs ending up having to affect things like that. And I fully understand everyone coming from both sides of that, and I completely relate. I don't like the whole idea of having to join, the ACC or potentially, my preferred choice is if we were to do that, I'd rather go to what Taddy likes to call the Big Whatever, or what originally was the Big Ten, but there's obviously more than 10 teams in that conference now, or another option that's been brought up has been potentially the Big 12 as well as another landing spot. For real, I'm not a big fan of that because I have concerns about the travel issues affecting some of the other athletic programs. But unfortunately, at the same time, given the direction and the landscape that's changing with college football, it's almost like you unfortunately got to bite that kryptonite bullet at this point and just accept things the way they are, and just set yourself up in a position where if things happen like this again within the next 5-10 years and you have another realignment or some conference gobbling up the other, maybe you can set yourself up in a position to get into something better. There was the possibility of them obviously bringing in, I want to say, big talk was always Fresno State and San Diego State were going to be potentially brought in to replace USC and UCLA, who, of course, bounced off to the Big Whatever. Will begin playing in that next year. But unfortunately, I feel with just the way all this played out, and again, just the incompetence of the leadership at of the Pac-12 Conference, I don't feel that there's any way that the conference is going to be salvaged at this point. I feel that it's just either going to cease to exist, or whatever schools are left over, if they end up not relining with another conference, will get gobbled up by the Mountain West or something like that out here. But the talk seems to be at this point that it's a very highly likely possibility that Cal, Stanford, and SMU will most likely go to the ACC. They're pretty much the soft deadline is trying to get something done before the college football season kicks off next week, because they really obviously don't want to have to hustle around with all that stuff. Initial talk is it was just going to be for football and the basketball programs, but from what I read from something Michael Silver put out, he's a Cal insider that covers stuff for multiple networks out there, and I believe he's a Cal alumni as well, mentioned that it looks like it might be for all the sports programs at this point. So yeah, I completely understand folks not wanting to go in that direction, but again, we kind of just got to take what we can get at this point, and then just the next time in the down the road, take advantage of what happens at this point. But just it sucks that this conference just got destroyed by incompetence, not just in recent years, but really spanning back almost its entire formation when it became the Pac-12. And just again, the new wave of things in college football, I guess. So we'll obviously see what happens going forward with that. Anything else you have to say?
Well, I
said a lot.
I'll tell you, this year's big game is when USC comes to Berkeley. I think Sam Jackson and his core of wide receivers really got something up their sleeve for good old USC this year. Big game in Berkeley. I'm looking forward to it, Keith.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I have not liked about this whole situation at all, with this whole, not just what's going on with the Pac-12, but what has happened across, multiple conferences in college football the last couple of years because of this whole realignment situation, where you have rivalry games that have gone on for over a century that end up being non-existent unless those schools, as a result of moving to other conferences, end up using one of their 3 non-conference games to do that. So this is, barring some sort of crazy shenanigans or us moving into the Big Whatever with them in the future at some point, this will be the last time we see the Cal-USC rivalry go down, the last time we've seen the Cal-UCLA rivalry going down. That's been, going damn near almost the same amount of time as the big game has been going on. And the one thing I'm going to stress, and it seems to be the vibe from a lot of folks out there, is regardless how we feel about those tree-hugging furred mofos across the bay over there, a lot of us do feel, or at least this is the way I feel, it's like wherever we go, dude, we got to take Stanford with us. We got to, unfortunately, have a pack with them bastards to keep that rivalry going, dude. Not just in football, but across the whole athletic regiment as well.
Also, it's kind of strange is, all they're talking about this year is how the quarterbacks in the Pac-12 are going to be outstanding, from Bo Nix, Caleb, of course, and Sam Jackson. That goes without saying, right, Keith? Sam Jackson got named the starting quarterback at Berkeley. He's a running, scrambling quarterback. We met him at the spring game. Great kid. He's got a lot on the table.
Yep, definitely going to be interesting to see how things happen, not just with Cal, but the rest of the Pac-12 as well. As basically, again, this is going to be, unless some sort of ridiculous miracle happens out there to change things with this, the final year of the Pac-12 as we know it. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the afternoon here on show number 33 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. We come back, we'll go ahead and get into things with the Cal football program, discuss some of the things as far as the roster makeup's going to look going into the beginning of the season, preview the first 2 games of 2023 for the Golden Bears football program, and also, in case you haven't had a chance to look over it, take a look at what's on tap for Cal throughout the rest of 2023. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back at you here in a bit on show number 33 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Tightwads, fellow California Golden Bears athletics fans. It is 30th Governor of Tightwad, Keith Salminen, and Donnie Knucklehead Hudson, of course, coming at you from Dub 6 Studios in the I almost said the old location, not Eastmont Hills anymore, the Diamond District, but still in Oakland, California. Show number 33 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill continues down the road here at you on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in not just Oaktown, but the entire East Bay and Bay Area. Donnie, how are you liking this? Technically, this is the second version of Dub 6 Studios you were in. I don't think you got a chance to go to the original Dub 6 Studios, but what are your thoughts of the current Dub 6 Studios versus the Eastmont incarnation?
Oh, these digs are sweet. I got to see your roommate and your beautiful wife, your old buddy Ron. You know what? They got diamonds on their soles of their feet over here in the Diamond District.
Yep. I will say, though, I'm not going to lie, I do miss the view of the Coliseum and the Deep East and, being able to look around and see the bay. That is kind of one setback that I do miss, about Eastmont versus here. But other than that, man, nice to have, a place where it's really just myself and the wife, having Ron being able to come over versus living in a spot where you're, sharing the place pretty much with, 4 or 5 people. And, that was the one thing always, not just with doing this, but with, our sister podcast, A's Fan Radio as well. You all know how obnoxiously and loud we can all get on both of these shows. So it was always trying to be fair to them. And the one advantage is, unlike over there, we got a completely whole separate room that we can use as the studio for doing the broadcast, where at the Eastmont version,
nice.
it was my bedroom that we were literally doing the show out of. So, but yeah, nice, definitely, obviously do miss the view, but other than that, liking it. And then, as mentioned, this is the first time Donnie's been up here in a hot minute as well. So does anything look different to you other than for the fact that obviously the Hillcrest Motel ain't across the street anymore?
No, good old Oakland. You'll always be in my heart.
Yep. Good old Donnie Knucklehead from Oakland lives out in Concord. Not at the Concord Cottage anymore. There's a name we haven't heard on this show in a while. But he is still in the Concord area from what he last told.
I'm down there in the Monument Corridor.
Yeah, so not too far from things over there. So, alrighty. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and continue on with talk on this abbreviated 33rd edition of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hills. Of course, the one lone sport we'll be talking about today, and of course, again, as promised, when we resume things with our next broadcast 2 weeks from now, we'll get back into talking about things with the other programs that have been going on as well. But just mainly football talk for this edition of the Bear Raid. Been a hot minute since we've done a straight up just football talk edition of the show, as the 2023 season is about to get underway. A lot of new faces, again, obviously, because of one of the many aspects of the changing landscape of college football. The transfer portal obviously had some guys dip out as a result of that, but did have some individuals come in to fill some of those spots. Had a coach that we're familiar with coming back, in good old offensive coordinator Jake Spivetail. For those of you, of course, that are part of the Twitter underground out there and they're part of the Cal burner community, hashtag Hogs for Spave. Make sure you all remember to share that out there because of how much of a Billy Badass Spave is. It was kind of interesting, though, to see them wait until basically almost a week before the season opener to announce the starting quarterback. And, the reality is I feel like most of us were expecting Sam Jackson Fifth to be named the starting quarterback. Some people, I guess, felt like there were some inconsistencies and some issues, which is why the race was wide open. But I feel like he basically had it in the bag. And of course, as Donnie mentioned, we got to chat it up with Sam when the spring showcase, whatever the hell they want to call that nonsense nowadays, spoke with him down on the field after that went down, because of course that's one of the few times where we can actually bounce into the stadium from Tightwad Hill right away, not have to worry about getting chased out for not having a ticket. And of course Donnie got to him first, and then we all rolled up once we finally found Donnie. But Sam loves the fact that he got to meet some of the vets up on Tightwad Hill, and definitely an individual that I'm looking forward to seeing and how he ends up impacting things with this 2023 Cal football squad.
Well, Musgrave's out. We got the new.
Thank God.
We got the new offensive coordinator in his
Hogs
place.
for Spave!
That's what I'm saying. And I can't remember the kid's name, but he told us that the first touchdown he gets, he's going to point at the hill. Do you remember his name? We were talking with him.
I'm trying to remember if that was Jackson that said that, or it might have been one of the wide receivers. Maybe did you talk? I'm trying to remember if you talked to Jay Knott at all when we went to that. If Ott was still there when we went down on the field.
I'm not sure, but it's all about Hunter this year. Jeremiah Hunter's on the watch list. Jaden Ott, our running back, he changed to number 1. He thinks he's number 1, so we're going to find out.
Definitely, and I mean, hey, I liked what he brought to the table last year, and of course, him and several other members of the football program, of course, are on various watch lists for all the various usual awards that are, awarded at the end of the college football season. So if you want further updates on all those awards that some of the guys in the program are in the running for, be sure to make your way over to the calbears.com website and go to the football section of the sports program. Obviously, I feel like with Spave coming back, I wouldn't be surprised, and especially given some of the stuff I've heard about Sam Jackson V, if we see a return to what, kind of what we got the namesake of our show from, which was the Bear Raid offense. Of course, unfortunately bringing that up, of course, reminds me of this unfortunate Sonny Dykes era, but of course that was the one and lone previous season that Spave was the offensive coordinator here was during one of the seasons that Dykes was coaching the program. And that was actually the year that they were the highest scoring offense during the whole time that Dykes ran the program. So hopefully looking forward to seeing a return to that. But the one thing that I hope that has changed from that is that the defensive side doesn't play like it did during the Dykes era when Spave was here. That's definitely something that's still been a little bit of a problem in my eyes, Tad's eyes, your eyes, and some of the other guys up there, that we definitely need to see the defense finally step it up this year, and especially with the implications of, I want to see a solid performance, given that this is the last year of the Pac-12 as we know it at this point, and just see what happens out there, not just because of the pieces we got in there, but the reality is, dude, I kind of feel like this is really a make or break year for Justin Wilcox, and if he doesn't get something done, that I feel like us even might be calling for the axe, literally at the end of the season. What are some of the other thoughts you have on this before we go ahead and get ready to preview the first 2 games of the season?
Well, I hear about the defense too, and I went out there, watched one of the practices. I was impressed with the defense. I just watched the linemen. I stayed on the side where the linemen were, and I just noticed the way they were just kind of going for it, more aggressive than I'd seen in years past. Also, they say the defensive backfield is set up this year. We're starting out with the Mean Green out in Texas. I believe we'll win the first 4 games.
Oh, there goes Donnie with a bold-ass prediction right out the gate after we're coming out of the summer hibernation, folks.
That's right. Right out the gate, 4 wins. That's what I'm looking for this year with Musgrave on the bench.
Hey, I mean, I can't fault you with that. Like I said, given, the circumstances and whatnot, why not go with a ballsy prediction and see what happens going out the gate with this Cal football program in 2023. And, I definitely, liked what I saw, both sides of the ball during the spring showcase. Kind of really hard to really, judge that ultimately, since I was several months ago, but obviously these guys just got in with, the college football equivalent of training camp here the last several weeks. So whatever issues still need to be kinked and knocked out, hopefully they got that all handled and done with and underway, because right here, right now, folks, we're basically 6 days. If you count today, if you count today, it'd be, 5 days at this point? But yeah, home openers basically this upcoming Saturday, since it's obviously Sunday now. And of course, as Donnie alluded to, the Golden Bears will be opening up the 2023 college football season on the road at North Texas in Dayton, Texas. Again, Saturday, September 2nd. That game kicks off at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For those of you that aren't going to be making the trek out there to watch the Bears battle the Mean Green, you can, of course, catch that on ESPNU, either at home or at a bar, if you don't happen to have access to that. Not a couple folks. It was a couple folks, Duncan being one of them, asked if we're going to do a viewing party for that game. The only reason I didn't set up one, and I'm probably going to stick to that not being the case, is, technically, first Saturday of the month, unless the team's home, I usually got stuff going on with Forever Oakland, so that's the only reason why I didn't set up a watch party. Obviously, we will set up some watch parties for some of the games going forward. Hell, I might even suggest at the home opener, maybe doing watch parties for all the road games, given that this is last year, the Pac-12, just, screw it, go to Laval's, or, if it's a late night game, go to Jupiter or one of the bars or restaurants around there and do something. But, those of you not going out there to DATCU Stadium in Dayton, Texas, that game is on ESPU, Cal, North Texas, 1 p.m. this upcoming Saturday. Your thoughts and what you're hoping to see out of the Golden Bears when they kick off things for the first time in 2023 on the 2nd.
High-scoring offense, maybe a little trickery. I think Ott will probably catch a touchdown pass. Jeremiah Hunter, I'm all about Jeremiah Hunter. I think I'm getting his jersey this year. I'm going to wear it on my head. He's great.
I like that. Just unleash Bear Raid 2.0 out the gate in the first game. I definitely would love to see that too. Obviously, would love to see the positives to carry over into this season, and obviously see stuff that affected us last year not happen. I feel that this definitely is a winnable game for Cal. Situation obviously where North Texas kind of more known for, I want to say, their band. If I'm familiar, or whatnot. But obviously a situation where obviously if it gets to a point where Cal's just stomping these guys, pull the regulars out so that way you don't risk things. But, I feel like this will be a W when it's all said and done. I'm not going to give a score prediction, but what do you think? Just for the fuck of it, what do you think the final score is going to be of this one?
I got 24-10. Cal Bears 24-10.
No, so not really a blowout, but kind of in the middle between not a blowout but a blowout. But either way, a Cal victory right there.
14-point win.
Yeah, yep. So that's what you got to look forward to at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time this upcoming Saturday, September the 2nd, when the California Golden Bears start off the season on the road against North Texas. The following Saturday, of course, September the 9th, will, of course, be the first home game of the year for your California Golden Bears, as they will, of course, host an opponent from the SEC in Strawberry Canyon, the Auburn Tigers, making the trip out to Berkeley on September the 9th. And a game that, of course, will be after dark action in Strawberry Canyon, as this game will be kicking off at, I believe, just want to double check on that. Yep, 7:30 p.m. at California Memorial Stadium, and, of course, Tightwad Hill as well. And, of course, they're encouraging everyone to wear gold to the game that day. So I'm going to go ahead and encourage that as well. If regardless, if you're going to be sitting up on Tightwad Hill like myself, my Knucklehead brother over here, and the rest of you or if you're going into the stadium, Gold Out Memorial and Tightwad on September the 9th. 7:30 p.m. kickoff for those of you that are not able to make it up to Strawberry Canyon for that one. You can, of course, catch the game on ESPN. And for those of you that sometimes like to go in, or if you're at the point where you, because of various health reasons or another, can't make it up to Tightwad Hill anymore, there are tickets still available for that home opener. They're going between $45 and $325.
Wow, I'll take two of those $325.
Well, that's probably for the high-end seats, or I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on what the rule is as far as reselling tickets, maybe someone's pre-selling a ticket in the student section. That's the only thing.
Like 20 parking passes with that.
Yeah, 20 where at Cal or for the Oakland for now athletics.
Well, I was referring to Cal. That nice parking garage.
I honestly don't know. It's been a while since I've looked up anything with the parking passes. Remember, Donnie, I take Bart to downtown and then I walk my ass up to the hills. So
I'm looking forward to Taddy and his sandwiches. The last couple of years he's been making those turkey burgers. I love them.
Taddy always got something of interest up there. Either the makeshift turkey burgers stuffed inside of a tortilla, or some other weird concoction that he ends up bringing up there.
Some strange wine he finds at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, still does the. Trying to remember, I think did he switch from Budweiser to Bud Light finally at the end of the year, and the reason why folks are wondering that is because after many years of folks getting on him to only change the Bud Light because the can's blue versus Budweiser being red, he finally did that. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe for all we know, it ends up being both Bud and Bud Light 2 for $6 up on there. So, but expect the usual things when it comes to all that, and put it up there. And of course, for those wondering, we will be officially kicking off the tailgate shenanigans on Tightwad for the September 9th home opener at high noon, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, though I'm pretty sure that Taddy will be up there at the butt crack of dawn setting a few things up. I'm pretty sure you'll be getting there probably sometime in either the late morning or early afternoon.
Yeah, lunch on the hill for sure.
Yeah, I most likely will be up there anytime between 10:30 and 1 at the latest, depending on what time I wake up and what I got to do and have going on before I get to that. But I'm definitely looking forward to going back up there, seeing some folks that I haven't seen since the last home game in 2022. Definitely like the opponent that we're going to be matching up with in this one. It's a game that, even though it is an SEC opponent, I feel like that it's a winnable game for Cal, but I feel like it will be a close one when it's all said and done. Something like 35-21, 35-28, something within the ballpark range of that. What do you think?
Well, if it's tied in the fourth quarter, I'm going to miss the BART train, but it'll be all right. As long as we win. Man, I got the Cal Bears by 5 points. 38-33. How's that?
Yeah, and if it ends up being tied at the end of the game, just bring it. You bring a tent, Justin. No, I'm joking with you. I'll leave it at your discretion if you bring a tent. I mean, obviously, I have other options if that ends up going down, or just I may have to dip earlier than that. Those of you that get up there, you'll have to figure it out at that point. But yeah, definitely feel like this will be a win for the Golden Bears, but it will be a close game when these two square off.
It's going to be wide open football on that Tiger game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I expect it to be,
national TV audience.
National TV audience. I expect it to be, maybe not an ESPN classic per se. That kind of might be jumping a little overboard, but, something that, is a memorable game and, helps, point things in a good direction. And, hey, maybe points the Golden Bears and starting off with 4 wins like you're boldly predicting that the program might do.
No, it'll be classic because Taddy will be there with that straw hat and that fat cigar. Hey, that's classic right there.
And the Budweiser's 2 for $6. Yelling it for him since he's
he raised the price? 2 for $6?
It's been 2 for $6 for a while, dude.
No,
Remember
2 for
we always
$5.
For many years it was 2 for $5. Then he had to inflation, man. Even us Tightwad's got to adjust for our bootlegging sales and stuff when inflation gets infected. And don't talk to me about that. That's his little shindig up there. You got any complaints? You got to talk to him about that.
I drink some Red Bull this week.
Oh, Lord in heaven. Anyway, here's what things look like the rest of the way out for the Golden Bears, in case any of y'all out there haven't had a chance to look at the entire 2023 schedule. Of course, after the September 9th home opener, Cal will be right back in Berkeley the following week on September the 16th to take on Idaho.
Those potato farmers,
The Idaho Vandals will be coming in for a 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff at California Memorial Stadium, which means we'll probably be starting the tailgate festivities at like 9 o'clock in the morning, most likely up on the hill. So bright and early show-up time on Tightwad Hill, 1 p.m. kickoff against Idaho. The rest of the games,
what do they call them, the Tater Tots?
The Vandals, apparently.
Oh.
I forgot what the hell their mascot has been a while. That's the one thing that I've missed about, not having the college football game is as a result of playing that. I actually, at one point, kind of had a rough idea of who's everyone's mascot was, because the one thing I liked about that college football game is playing all the damn rivalry matchups and being able to win the rivalry trophies in those games. So, but yeah, a little rusty on that.
Wow, then we go to Washington, huh?
Yep. So far, only the first 3 games of the year have start times announced. The rest of them and the rest of the way out there be to be determined. So it'll probably be the usual shenanigans week to 2 weeks beforehand when they announce the start times. Other remaining games for the Cal Golden Bears in 2023, on September the 30th, they will host the Arizona State Sun Devils at California Memorial Stadium. Their first game of October will hold up, yeah, I skipped a game, my bad. Before that game that I just mentioned, Cal will be in Washington on September the 23rd, taking on the Huskies at Husky Stadium in Seattle. After that will, of course, be the September 30th game against Arizona State in Berkeley. So, right date, I just got the opponents, unfortunately, mixed up on that one. October 7th, they will host the Oregon State Beavers at California Memorial Stadium before heading out on the road to Salt Lake City to take on the Utah Utes. They will then come back to Berkeley about 3 days before Halloween, if I'm reading things right here, to play yet another close to Halloween game.
So we'll get beat up in Utah, and then we'll come home and beat the crap out of the
smack the
Trojans.
crap out of the Trojans on the
I
28th
think so.
at California Memorial Stadium. The last time, potentially, at least as rivals and in this conference.
We always have a hard time with Utah.
Yeah, that's been the case, unfortunately, for a very, very long time. And then even before those Utah Utes came over to the Pac-12. So, yeah, Utah at Utah on October the 14th, and the last game of October on the 28th, which, of course, is a Saturday. All these games being played on a Saturday this year will be a home matchup against the USC Trojans. Oregon and Cal will face off in Eugene on November the 4th. November the 11th, we'll see Cal host Washington State at California Memorial Stadium. Cal will then close the season with 2 road games. Of course, on November 18th, they will take on Stanford in the big game across the bay over at Stanford Stadium. Most likely, we'll probably do the same thing we always do when they go over there, and that's just tailgate in the Grove and watch the game on a big-ass TV. And then the final game of the season will be against UCLA at the Rose Bowl on November 25th. We do have plans to try to make it down there for a road trip. And obviously, for anyone that can't make the road trip game, we'll set up a viewing party for back here in Berkeley for that one. And, of course, the what most likely will be the final Pac-12 championship game, if Cal were to qualify for it, would be on December 1st at that stadium in the desert that the Traders play in on, Friday, December the 1st at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So,
Allegiance.
Man, could it definitely be really interesting to see how things play out for this program in the final year of the Pac-12. And, given a lot of the stuff that happens, I do have high hopes out there. I know some fans, given the whole possibility of what's going on with the conference imploding, are worried about this being the end of Cal football and Cal athletics as a whole. I don't think that's the case. I do feel, like I said, that they'll either end up in the ACC, or if that doesn't go through, Big 12 or something will end up working its way out. But just enjoy this season. Enjoy what's going to be going down in this, most likely final season of the Pac-12. And it's really the first time in a while that I've felt, confident about this program going into the start of the season. But even with all that being said, dude, it's definitely, I feel, a make or break year for Justin Wilcox. And, for his sake, I hope they finally get back to the dominating ways that we really haven't seen since, the Tedford era and the slight beginning of the Dykes era before it went all crashing downhill. But, again, if it's another kind of lackluster, middle-of-the-road performance like it's kind of really been up to this point, there's really only so much you can take of your bowl game being a win in the big game. We got to be real about that.
I agree with that. I was listening to Kyle Bowler, or is it Toller, one of the other coaches on Cal. He was on the Facebook yesterday. He seems to think that we got a good chance of winning too. Maybe he's the one that gets stuck into my bones here. But I got a feeling this is Cal's year. I've been saying Sam Jackson. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see I've been preaching to him and talking to his sister. I've actually become friends with one of the sisters there, and they're really good.
Yep, definitely a lot to look forward this year. Again, season opener on the road against North Texas, a 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time start for those here on the West Coast will be watching that. And, of course, for those of you out there that are in the area, be sure to make it out to Tightwad Hill at Memorial Stadium on September the 9th for the home opener against the Auburn Tigers. And remember, gold out Tightwad for that home opener. I'm actually in gold right now, and probably one of the shirts I'll be wearing. I'm going to, given it's a night game, I'm probably going to be bringing layers with me just in case to be on the safe side up the Tightwad Hill. But I'm actually wearing a shirt that was a giveaway that they, tossed to fans in the stands at the athletic programs last year. But, of course, I got that. I got a, kind of a long sleeve yellow shirt, and then I got a yellow sweater that I use as well. But, yeah, definitely gold out Tightwad Hill at Memorial Stadium on September the 9th. And, again, basically 6 days away from the kickoff this upcoming Saturday the 2nd against the North Texas Mean Green. Final thoughts on Cal football before we take our final break of the afternoon.
I'm hoping we got a good kicking team. I don't know much about that. I need to study the kicking team. My touch bases about, what I thought. We just got to see what happens.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that because we have had some pretty solid kickers, it seems like, the last several years. So it will be interesting to see.
We had the Italian squad there for a while.
Yeah, for a nice minute. But, they either went on to the NFL or they went through the transfer portal to go elsewhere. On that note, final break of the afternoon coming at you here on show number 33 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. We come back. We will take a look at the centennial celebration of 2 landmarks this year on the UC Berkeley campus. Spoiler alert, obviously, yes, the sponsor of this podcast is one of those 2 landmarks. And, of course, following the discussion of the centennial celebration for those 2 landmarks, we will lead things on out of here with mine and Donnie's final thoughts of the afternoon. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back at you here in a bit with the final segment here this afternoon on show number 33 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill.
Welcome back to the Bear Raid, coming from the Diamond District out here in beautiful Oakland, California, with Keith Salminen, Donnie Hudson, Knucklehead, they call me. I was talking about the Washington game. That'd be the 4th game. So what I'm trying to tell you is by the time we beat Washington, we'd be 4-0. I think we'd be ranked about number 19 in the nation. What do you think about that, Keith?
Man, this guy's bringing out all sorts of ballsy-ass predictions here early in the 2023 season for Cal football. I'm looking forward to see if you got any ballsy predictions for some of the other athletic programs when we start covering those on the next edition of the show. Why not, man? But, it's going to be, interesting to see if, especially if, we perform well going forward. But just, if any of the teams that do perform well in the Pac-12 this year, unless, outside of the names of the usual suspects, if they're going to get any love if they start off hot because of the whole situation with the conference imploding on itself. But, that would be dope. I'm one of those individuals that, was still hoping and, given how things are looking, would still like to see a Rose Bowl at some point before I take my dirt nap. Yeah. This kind of might be the last chance to really do that, unless I forgot when they're implementing things when they're switching stuff around with the Rose Bowl and all that as far as the playoff structure
goes.
How's
this for another Donnie vision?
No, here we go.
Deion Sanders, you know what he's going to do late at night? He's going to watch Cal games late at night. You think he'll be studying game films for the Colorado Buffaloes? No, he'll be watching Cal games and going, good thing we didn't have to play those guys this year.
Yeah, man. It seems like it's been a hot minute since they played them. I was actually hoping, to play them regardless if, Dion and his crew were to stomp the crap out of us, or if we were to shock everybody and smack him and the Buffalo all around Memorial or up there in Colorado. I have a friend that been years since I've talked to her, but a friend of mine that's a Colorado alumni that, would have been nice to, rub in her face one last time that, hey, Cal beat your alma mater, ha-ha, but it did seem like, for the most part in recent years since Buffalo came into the Pac-12, that they basically not just they didn't just get dominated by us, but they pretty much got dominated and ran through by everyone on the football side of things during their time in the conference. And I guess maybe, now that you got a more high-profile coach there and all the moves they made, kind of explains why they decided to go back to the conference they left originally. But, whatever, man. It just, I think it's a chicken shit move. But situation, again, that just was started by the ridiculousness and crappy runniness of the higher-ups at the Pac-12 in the last couple of years.
Well,
and they could have saved it by expanding some teams before UCLA and USC decided to dip. But nah, those two schools wanted to veto expanding the conference a couple of years ago. But whatever.
I just wanted to catch your goat with Deion Sanders, Mr. Coach Prime there, or whatever they're calling him these days. He says, run a lap if you don't call me Prime.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see if the Buffaloes do live up to the hype with Deion being there, if other things end up happening. Because, obviously there's folks out there that are rooting for Deion, but with, as many people out there that are rooting for Deion, they're kind of, there's as many out there rooting against him as well because they feel like, Deion's going in there and is over-hyping things. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
They call that pompous. What about Brendan Rice? He's a senior. We got to deal with Brendan Rice. Is he going to be on the map this year?
We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
All righty. On that note, as we head on into the final segment here on this afternoon's broadcast, as of course mentioned, centennial anniversary this year for not just the pile of dirt that sponsors this broadcast, but obviously the stadium that said pile of dirt overlooks up there in Strawberry Canyon. In addition to great plays and memorable events, the 2023 Cal football season will be spectacular for another reason, the 100th anniversary of California Memorial Stadium. CMS first opened its doors on November 24th, 1923, when the Golden Bears hosted Stanford in the big game. Cal, of course, defeated the Cardinal 9-0 in front of a raucous crowd of 73,000, and the century to follow has yielded its share of unforgettable occasions both on and off the football field, and at least in another additional 5,000 to 7,000 that couldn't get tickets for that game ascended up to the slopes and basically were the first tightwads and started the tradition. If I would have had time, I would have circled on it, but if you blow up this image that we're showing y'all on our screens or on your screens right now, you can see people sitting up there on Tightwad Hill, and it's pretty damn packed, man. It looks like how some of the big game crowds and some of the game day crowds used to get during the time that Tedford coached the program. So
they had Pabst Blue Ribbon and big stogies. We got joints and Budweiser.
Hey, there's still some folks with some stogies and cigars up there even this day and age. I mean, hell, Taddy and the Army dude are always, the guaranteed cigar smokers on there. So there's a little bit of that extension back to that first game in 1923, but obviously in the 100 years that the tradition's been going on, it's been, modified and had shit added to it and subtracted to it during its century of existence. Let's see, what else here? Cal Athletics will spend the upcoming football season honoring the past century with promotions, giveaways, fan engagement, and more. Of course, a couple days ago, the Cal Bears website launched the California Memorial Stadium 100 homepage, a source for stories, memories, information, and more. You can also share your favorite stories or greatest memory of California Memorial Stadium on that website as well. So definitely I'm going to have to make sure to jump on there and share my thoughts about that. Some of the promotions will be going down for any of you that happen to be going inside the stadium for games this year. We may have to try to figure out a way to weasel the yoo-hoos up at Cal to maybe give us some of this stuff as well. There are several promotions planned to recognize the anniversary during Cal home football games this season. September the 9th versus Auburn. They will, of course, kick off with the season-long celebration with the Gold Out that we, of course, mentioned in the previous segment, plus a halftime drone show. September the 16th versus Idaho. The first 2,000 fans can pick up a commemorative coin or pin at the marketing table after entering the stadium. October the 7th versus Oregon State. In addition to it being homecoming, the first 10,000 fans entering the stadium will receive a commemorative field rally towel. And November the 11th versus Washington State, they will wrap up the home schedule with a stadium replica for the first 10,000 fans. Not going to be shocked, or would actually be shocked if they don't add anything to some of those other home games, and I hope they do as well. California Memorial Stadium is not short of memories. There was Pappy's boys, the players who competed under legendary coach Pappy Waldorf and led Cal to 3 consecutive Rose Bowl appearances from 1948 to 1950. The iconic victory can has been providing the punctuation to Cal touchdowns of victory since 1964. CMS has showcased some of the best talent college football has to offer in Aaron Rodgers, Chuck Muncie, Marshawn Lynch, Jared Goff, and so many more. There have also been plenty of non-football memories made at California Memorial Stadium. Cal's baseball team played its home games there in 1925, and CMS has hosted professional sporting events over the years, such as the Oakland Raider home games during the 1970s and an international soccer contest between Inter Milan and Real Madrid in 2014. Cal's lacrosse team has called California Memorial Stadium home since the program's inception in 1999. The stadium has also hosted several dignitaries over the years, including U.S. Presidents Harry S. Truman in 1948 and John F. Kennedy in 1962. The stadium is also home to UC Berkeley's annual commencement exercises every spring. Built on the Hayward Fault, California Memorial Stadium underwent a 21-month renovation project that began in 2010 that included seismic upgrades to continue ensuring the safety of all that visit. Join Cal Athletics this fall in this special celebration. And, of course, again, for any of you that go into the stadium, tickets are now on sale for all the home games, including the home opener in just over a little under 2 weeks against Auburn by visiting calbears.com or calling 1-800-GO-BEARS. And, obviously, for those of y'all that don't want to be dummies and want to save your money, come and watch that home opener and all the other games in 2023 up on Tightwad Hill, because it, again, is also the centennial celebration of that pile of dirt. And we do have plans for some shirts. It's been a hot minute since we've done some shirts up on the hill. Tito got a hold of a T-shirt press, I believe, and he's going to start trying to pump out shirts, so we will definitely keep you posted on that, not just here on the show, but on our social media page. But, yeah, we do have plans at some point before this year is over with to get out 100th anniversary Tightwad Hill shirts. Donnie, your thoughts on the centennial celebration of both Tightwad Hill and Memorial Stadium, and maybe just, a little bit background of the first time you made the trek up to both, I guess, Memorial Stadium, Tightwad Hill.
Well, I wasn't born in Cal. A lot of my friends probably think I was born in Berkeley, but because it's all I ever talk about. But I did go to my first Cal game in 7th grade on the school bus with my brother. I think it was $3, included lunch. Another time I was at the Marshawn Lynch game. I got such a rush of adrenaline when Marshawn Lynch ran 25 yards around left end. I've been a Bear fan all my life. It's really special place, and I try to get people involved in it. And I met a lot of good friends, including Keith, through Cal Bears. I don't know what else to say about it. It's all good.
As my charger ends up falling on the ground, don't you worry. Yeah, nobody got shot. There ain't a dead body hitting the deck here inside Dub 6 Studios. That was just my charger hitting the deck, unfortunately, as I was getting things prepped to put out things on social media once the show is done and over with. I first started going up there for Cal football games on and off, and I want to say 1999, 2000. It wasn't really like a regular thing. I maybe would hit up 1 or 2 games a year, and then I kind of, started to slowly go a little semi-regularly during the 2002 season, and then basically at one point during an A's game that year, my buddy Mike Davey and I decided, you know what, let's go and check out the big game. Go up on Tightwad Hill and go check that out for the first time ever. So, went up there for that big game in 2002, watched that madness unfold. First time Cal had won the big game in 7 years up to that point, mind you. And, yeah, when it comes to game day, this Yoo-hoo right here hasn't been back in the stadium since then. And that was the 79th anniversary. That was the 79th year of Tightwad Hill and Memorial Stadium, the pre-renovated Memorial Stadiums. Of course, there was a season as a result of that 21-month renovation where they had to go and play at Oracle Park in San Francisco as a result of doing that. But yeah, started going up there for that with that big game. Haven't been back in since. My first full year was in 2003. Which, and we had some, solid years up there, man. That was right at the time that Aaron Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun Jackson, that just, deadly trio death squad that they had during that early Tedford time was there. Got to see the triple overtime game go down. And for me, that's my most memorable moment going up there. Is that triple overtime win against USC. It'd be nice to finally have something top that here in the next couple of years. But yeah, there hasn't been a game that's got as close to the insanity of that triple overtime game. I was retroactively made the Lieutenant Governor of Tightwad Hill under Tad, retroactively dated to my first game up there because Taddy's adopted brother-in-law or adopted brother was the previous governor, but he was kind of, a knucklehead, really didn't take the job seriously, mainly just went up there to get wasted and whatnot. So replaced his brother with me, and then ultimately that led to me later on becoming the 30th and current governor up there. So, I love it up there. Some people like to give me a hard time, but like, oh, why don't you go in there? You're not helping out the program. I do help out the program, y'all. I go to other athletic events at UC Berkeley. I go and check out the baseball program. I go and check out the basketball programs every now and then. I'll go up there for random athletic stuff every once in a blue moon. And, come on, where do you think I go and get my Cal merchandise at? I either get it at the student store or I buy it at one of the stores, one of the multitudes of stores that they got around there. So one way or another, even if they don't get money from me on college football game day, Cal gets money from me and us at some point. But definitely looking forward to this centennial season for both Tightwad Hill and Memorial Stadium. Just, again, it's unfortunate that part of the backdrop to that is the whole implosion of the Pac-12. And as I always say, Tightwad Hill is something you got to do at least once in your lifetime, regardless or not if you're a Cal football fan or even if you're a football fan, period, or not. It's just, come up there and at least check out the view, man. It's a great, beautiful view up on that bad boy. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to see how things play out for the 100th year anniversary season of not just Memorial Stadium, but Tightwad Hill as well. Final thoughts on this before we actually do our final thoughts of the afternoon.
Some people call me the Space Cowboy. Steve Miller's playing over at the Greek. I noticed they got a lot of shows back at the Greek. It's all part of, like Keith was saying, spending money in Berkeley. That's how the university makes their money, through sports programs, Greek theater, all those different things.
So, yeah, hey, definitely one way or another, if even if you don't go into the games like us, hey, we do our part to make sure we help out and contribute with things over there at the University of California. On that note, Donnie, go ahead and lead us on out of here with your final thoughts of the afternoon.
Jaden Ott. It's all about Jaden Ott. He's going to go out there in Mean Green, going to get about 134 yards, rushing and passing. Like I said, we got him 24-10. It's an exciting season. I look forward to seeing all you up there on Tightwad Hill, as well as the broadcasters and Gary and Bert and, Bert and Ernie, everybody. They'll all be there.
Yep. As always, ladies and gentlemen, for the latest information pertaining to the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill, be sure to check things out on our Facebook page at facebook.com/TightwadHillOfficial. Follow the Tightwad Madness on Twitter at TightwadHill23. Be sure to check out things over on our temporary webpage at AsFanRadio.com/The Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. As always, our live shows going down here on AFR's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/AsFanRadio. And hey, if you happen to miss a previous broadcast or you want to go back and look at any of the 33 shows up to this point that we have done since this bad boy started in November of 2020. You can check out all of the Bear Raid's past broadcasts over on A's Fan Radio's YouTube channel at youtube.com/A's Fan Radio. And again, the next edition of the show, show number 34, will of course be going down on September the 10th at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on twitch.tv/A's Fan Radio. Great to be back. Glad the summer hibernation is over with. again, I had looked forward to talking about a lot more than just Cal football, the 100th anniversary of Tightwad Hill and Memorial Stadium, and, of course, the Pac-12 implosion today. But just, again, last couple of weeks with just a whole bunch of shit going on my end. Again, sorry that it ended up being an abbreviated show, but, hey, made sure that one way or another we came back at you. And, yeah, just great to be back from the summer hibernation and get back into the swing of things with doing this bad boy every 2 weeks. Again, remember, gold out, Tightwad and Memorial Stadium on September the 9th. On behalf of my co-host, Donnie Knucklehead Hudson, woo-hoo, 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 over here making owl noises and what that. I am 30th Governor of Tightwad Hill, Keith Salminen. Y'all take care and enjoy what is left of your Sunday afternoon. The views and opinions of our cast, our guests, and our listeners are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with the University of California, Cal Athletics, the NCAA, or the soon-to-be dissolved and imploded Pac-12 Conference. Thank you all again for tuning in. Great to be back after that summer hibernation. We look forward to, of course, seeing you again in 2 weeks with the next edition of the show on September the 10th at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Twitch. Until then, take care, stay blue, stay gold, and roll on, you Bears! Be safe. We'll see y'all again on September the 10th. And, hey, see some of y'all up on Tightwad on September the 9th.